everybody. Welcome to our podcast where we're going to be diving into real time projects and things that we've worked with actual clients. And we will be discussing today Constructor implementation on SFCC. My name is Foha Khalid, and with me I have Zaeem Habib and Usman Mehmood. Usman Mehmood is our solution architect, and Zaeem Habib is our senior developer. So and before we dive right in, I just want to let you know that this constructor implementation is basically, it's just a search optimization tool that we're using. And more about it, you can hear from Usman. So Usman, can you please tell us what is constructor and in layman terms, what exactly is it?
Thank you so much, Foha, for having me here and allowing me to, let you know a little more about Constructor and Salesforce. So, what is Constructor? Uh, every e-commerce platform has a search engine, which has its own unique features and, items, but obviously those features are not always enough for the merchandisers. So customer is just a third-party tool which allows us to enhance your search and product discovery. It is designed exclusively for e-commerce platforms. Um, if you talk about the feature, Constructor offers advanced AI-powered search feature like contextual and personalized search results, deep query, understanding automatic query categorization, and robust, recommendation capabilities. If you talk about the features that Constructor Search offers, you can talk about smarter type ahead search, auto correction, semantic search, handling, misspellings, partial matches, stop word recognition, special character handling. You can also use Constructor Search based on the, whatever the data you have fed it into it, like recommendations, building quizzes, creating collection pages. So the thing about quizzes is it's just like a guided selling kind of solution, right? So you can provide a guided selling kind of experience for your customers using Constructor Search, which is not available out of the box like in other search engines or other platforms out of the box. Uh, and collections are just like your custom pages where you can create a collection of your different products and create a unique page experience for the customers, but not having to categorizing them into a particular category. So these are different features that Constructor provides. Sorry. Uh, yeah, I think that's a little about Constructor.
Right. Thank you, Usman, for sharing that. It's really interesting to hear that. I do know that there are other tools available for search optimization. Can you tell us why this client opt for Constructor? What is it about Constructor that makes it stand out?
Yeah, so I'll just talk about a particular client. I will not, disclose the name, but that client was a big brand having a lots of books, like more than 8 million products in their catalog, and it's continually increasing, right? So the first of all, client was not happy with the quality of search results. For example, Salesforce search results are truncated by the product name or whatever the attribute index we have. And what happens is, for example, if you talk about books, the name of some books is like more than 300 characters, right? And what happens is when the product name is index or the ID is index in Salesforce search results, it truncates the title, book title, or the name, right? And then what happens is when someone is searching the book by the full title, that is more than like 250 or 300 characters, you get some random results, right? It is not matching the exact results. So that was one of the areas where client was really frustrated because they are the bookstores, and often customer either search books by their ISBN IDs or by their name or titles. So if they are not matching, they are getting different random results. So that was one of the main reason the client wanted to look for a search engine that can automatically judge and do not truncate these product titles or name and then give them the relevant results. So that was one of the reasons. Client also wanted to have a search result that is intelligent enough to autocorrect the search results. Obviously, that is also present in Salesforce as well, but the quality of that autocorrect was not up to the mark, right? And again, for example, if you are looking for Easter basket books, but you type the Easter baskets, you should get books related to Easter basket rather than having return some random results with different combinations and permutations. So that was another thing that client was not happy with the search quality of search results for the auto type ahead. Again, as I said, that our client has a catalog of more than 8 million, and the out of the box SFRA code is not uh, optimized enough to process the search results in time. For example, if there is a query that is returning more than 100,000 products in the search results, although it is being paged, but when the out of the box SFRA code tries to build the search refinement filters, it goes down, right? It takes like 8 to 10 seconds. Now, 8 to 10 seconds is a very big time, right? To just
Yeah.
render that search results page. And in the meantime, customers were frustrated why it is taking so much time. And then we were doing, like workarounds, right? For example, if there is a query, we would create a different category for that query in order to, reduce that time. But this was in the end, this was not helping at all, right? Um, Again, if you talk about some other features, if let's talk about, you have seen in on multiple sites that the customer wanted to search by a store inventory, right? For example, if this product is available at a particular store or not. Usually, this behavior is available on your product display page, where you can directly make a real-time call to the uh, the third party inventory system, and you can give the details to customer like, okay, this product is available in this quantity on the particular store that customer has selected. But our requirement was unique in a sense that customer wanted to provide this refinement option on the search page itself, or category landing page, or product listing page itself, where when someone is searching for a particular query, they wanted to have a search result that can be filtered by a particular store that customer has selected. So these were the kind of things that were not available out of the box in Salesforce. And in order to achieve this functionality, we were doing a very big workaround, having to use the price books rather than the inventory. And there was lots of stuff involved that was not optimized. So the client wanted to, get rid of this behavior as well. Another problem that we're facing, if you are from the Salesforce background, when a search result is returned, usually you get the master products in the search result, right? Only the master products in the search result, not the variation products. Or if you want to do that, then you have to enable slicing, right? Both of the options were not acceptable by a customer, because they wanted to sometimes they wanted to in the search result, they wanted to control if a product variation or a particular variation of a product is being returned, and they don't want that. Okay, if I have sliced uh, a product for the search result, by slicing we mean by looking at all the variations of products in the search results. So if we went for the master product in the product tile or the search results, then they were not able to show their default variant in the search results, right? And if we went for the slicing, slice the products, then what was happening, for example, if a color was having, multiple, sorry, if a shirt is having multiple colors, so then all those colors were being visible on the search results page, and it was being all the search results were of first six colors of a shirt first, then second product will have its six colors. So that was not giving us the full results. So we wanted a control where we can control from the search results or the dashboard that, okay, if this is the default variant, just show this default variant on the search results page, or a particular variant on the search results page, and then customer can move forward with that. So another thing is that the client wanted some more control to, for example, bury some of the products in the search results, or enhance enhance the search term rank of other products, or maybe just inject some products within the search results. So these kind of features are all there in SFCC as well, but it's more easier to configure and control them in Constructor search engine. So I guess I was able to give you a little background on why the client wanted to move from the Salesforce out of the box search engine towards a third party search engine which can take care of all these use cases.
All right. Thank you, Usman, for all of that information regarding the client's perspective of why they would want to go for a third-party search engine, why the out-of-the-box was not sufficient for them. Now, coming more towards the technical side of the same, can you tell for the developers that are interested about why you would want to go for, or when would you start with Constructor? What are the steps that you use to integrate it into your storefront? How did you go about that?
Right. So basically, Constructor, for SFCC's sake, Constructor offers a cartridge as well, but they have two options to integrate it. Either they basically themselves recommend a client-based solution that is more optimized to their API calls. So for example, if you have a composable storefront, a React-based storefront, you can use Axios or any other client-side calling method to call their APIs and get the actual data. But our client was based on SFRA. So for this and due to a lot of other options as well, we had to find another solution, and that was to use server-based services, which are offered in SFCC. So these are the main two avenues that a developer can investigate into.
Okay. And just to clarify this, for I think if your question is related to, um, is there any APIs or SDKs available, just to re-clarify that, yes, Constructor provides both the client-side APIs and the server-side APIs to integrate your application along with different SDKs that can be used to build your native mobile apps, right? And as he mentioned that, okay, we have the Safari base cartridge as well, and there is a composable application sample available as well to just get you started.
Right. So moving on to you, Zain, can you tell me what are the different ways that one can integrate Constructor into their storefront on SFCC?
Particularly on SFCC, Constructor offers basically two ways, but that is an SFCC cartridge and a Safari cartridge. So they give out a pretty much bare bones cartridge that has all the basic functionality to make their search and autocomplete specially work. Other than that, but in our case, the client has a lot of customizations, so we had to do a lot of work onto the cartridge as well to make sure that our customization and the massive size of the catalog translated well into the cartridge as well. Option number two is for anyone who's on a composable storefront, they offer composable apps, so you can integrate that. And number three is anyone who's not on SFCC or they're on some other kind of architecture, they offer SDKs and client-side APIs. So you can maybe create a middleware to hit them and get the data, or just get them on your storefront directly.
Right. So that's interesting. And given this particular scenario that you had, what was your approach in integrating Constructor for the client that approached you?
Right. So we basically discussed two approaches. One was totally based on client-side integration, and one was server-side. So for the client-side integration, that's what Constructor themselves recommend as well, because it's better in performance. They ask people to hit their APIs from the client side and fetch the data there, make the business logic there, and then show the data accordingly. But this obviously has its pros and cons. The biggest pro is that it's pretty much energy efficient. It's quick. But the con is definitely that in our scenario with the client that is so massive with its big catalog and a large number of customizations that they had, it really didn't fit into our square peg. So what we had to do was go to option number two, which was basically a completely server-based implementation of autocomplete, of browse, and of search. So basically what we did was we integrated multiple endpoints that they offered, particularly related to browse, which related to categories, search, which related to query terms and search parameters, and finally autocomplete, which obviously led to autocomplete as a user enters a certain keyword. Yeah, so that's what we did. Obviously it also had its own pros and cons. The pros definitely would be that it was easier for us to implement because we could use the server side absolute efficiency of SFRA to actually get the data and render it on the storefront, rather than changing our whole logic from client side to from server side to the client side and then implementing that. So The biggest pro definitely was that because time was definitely of the essence, and so it was really important for us to actually find an efficient pathway uh, that we can actually efficiently deliver this product to the client in a timely manner, definitely. So we chose option 2, which was the server-side integration.
Thank you for that insight. I think it'll be very helpful for other people who are on SFI or any other platform, even Composable, like you mentioned, for them to be able to pick up Constructor and have an idea of how to approach it. So, Usman, this question is for you. What are the areas that you think that one should keep in mind when they're migrating a search engine?
Oh, yes, that's a very good question for everyone who wants to migrate their search engine. So when the term search comes into play, right, usually we think about, okay, we are just typing something and getting some search results, and that's the search. But this is not the case, right? In terms of e-commerce, you might want to consider, okay, how does your autocomplete work, right? And okay, for example, when you are searching for something, if you search by a category, right, or if you are searching by a keyword, you might want or expect a different search results, right? You have to keep in mind what are your use cases or the kind of customizations that you'd want to perform before getting those search results, right? So this is one way of looking at it. Then there are such driven, redirects, right? For example, in Salesforce, it's very easy to go into your business manager and add some such driven redirects. Does that third party provide the support for those redirects as well? So these are the areas. Similarly, you might want to look into your product listing pages or the search result pages, or how the category landing pages as of today your website work, and how does it map to your new search engine? Is it better? Is it poor? Um, Again, search engines can also provide you with the recently viewed carousels or recommendations carousels. So if that is also provided by your new search engine, that is an area you might want to look into. You want to keep the existing Salesforce recommendations or recently viewed carousel, or you want to jump into the new search engine data, right? That is one of the areas. Then, for example, if you have created specially pages, for example, if you want, you have already created pages for a link to author pages, and there are different author pages, brand pages. Uh, you can call them, refinement driven search pages as well, right? I'll use the technical term, that is, refinement based search pages. How does that, fit into your new search engine? Is it, easy to do that, or do you have to work around that, right? Then again, in Salesforce, it's very easy to create your page designer based landing pages, and you can easily configure a landing page for a particular category. How does that work with your new third-party search engine? Is it easy for you, or do you have to do some customization? For example, in our case, we had to make sure if you have configured a page designer-based search page against a query search term or a category, we want to first look into our page designer pages or the custom static pages, and if it is not found there, and then we would go to constructor for providing the search results again. So these are different areas that you might or should be aware of before you start to do this implementation. You want to make sure that you have ticked every checkbox before you finalize how the things will start working.
Sure. Thanks for that, Usman. Definitely
Okay.
that built a checklist for anybody looking forward to integrating Constructor. Moving back to Zaeem, from a technical perspective, Zaeem, what are those challenges that you faced when you were implementing Constructor, and what would you advise?
Um, okay, so of course the cartridge that Constructor offers at that time, I don't know if there's been any updates to that, but at that time it was pretty bare bones. So we had to do a lot of work over the top of what was already offered by Constructor in our cartridge. This was obviously a lot domain related as well, because the client was it's a huge client and they have a catalog that has products in the multi-millions. So of course, dealing with that kind of data has its own challenges. With that kind of data comes massive attributes and sub attributes that you have to refine and define so that they're correctly mapped onto the SFCC platform as well. So the biggest problem for us was definitely to map that specific data that was coming from Constructor in form of an API response into SFCC. So for example, we have refinements on SFCC. So the facets that we fetched from Constructor, we had to make sure that they are exactly mapped and their functionality would not be changed for any user that would be browsing the specific client. So of course, that was our biggest challenge, to map those objects. And we spent like a considerable amount of time to actually look into how we can efficiently do that, utilizing Salesforce's own product search pipelines. So we tried to find the sweet spot that was both efficient and that we could deliver in time as well. So that was definitely the biggest challenge. Then, of course, since this is a huge client, with huge clients come a lot of great customizations as well. For that, we had to make sure that the customizations that were in the code that were, I would really say that they were majorly undocumented. There wasn't really any concrete documentation for them as well as to why they were implemented, what they did, what were the preconditions, what are the post conditions, what's the business plan, what are the roles for anyone for specific feature customization that was on the search page. So we had to make sure that those are mapped into the search results that were coming from Constructor as well, mostly by looking through the code only. That was somewhat of a challenge that is more related to domain, not exactly with what Constructor offers, but it's more, but definitely something that would be relatable for people who are trying to integrate Constructor with a massive client, right? Okay, so then of course, with huge data comes a lot of data synchronization as well. So we had to implement a number of jobs to make sure that the data that we're getting from Constructor is properly integrated into SFCC. The catalogs are properly generated, especially when you're considering that this specific client had like 8 million, 9 million products or something like that. So of course, the catalog size in itself is something that, I mean, it gives me nightmares. And I'm pretty sure it gave Constructor some tough time as well, but they did a pretty good job at it. The thing is that, yeah, so we had to create a lot of jobs to synchronize the data successfully. Especially one example that comes to my mind is that we also had to send the deleted and offline products, but to Constructor, of course, because we had like a two-way data flow that we sent our data updates from SFCC to Constructor, and then Constructor had their updates and they sent the catalog back as well. So we also had to send the deleted and offline products to Constructor via our service calls. And anyone who's worked in SFCC knows that it's pretty difficult to deal with offline and deleted products with the product search pipelines. So we had to figure out a way for that as well. And I think in the end, we did find an efficient way to synchronize the data.
And
All
if
right,
I remember
great.
correctly, sorry to cut you off. So, and if I remember correctly, there were some other use cases as well, right? Zaim, for example, and it's not unique with this customer, but for example, the prices, right? Our customer updates their prices daily, right? Or for
Yeah.
hundreds and thousands of books, like. And if you talk about the real-time inventory, because the search results, when they are being returned, we wanted to make sure that the products that have the most inventory are on the top of search results, right?
Yeah.
But once the product has been sent to Constructor, how to make sure that we are constantly updating the prices and your inventory. So we also made some jobs to make sure that as soon as the inventory is landing in Salesforce, we need to somehow let Constructor know, okay, these products have prices change or inventory change, right? So yeah, I think that was another area where we faced some challenges.
Definitely, yeah.
That sounds like a great achievement from your end to be able to surpass all of those challenges and be able to implement something within the time frame that you mentioned, that you had a tight time frame as well. It was a deadline from the customer as well to complete it within that time. So my question in the end, I think everybody's question who's watching this in the end is, was the customer satisfied with your implementation, whatever you had delivered, the way that you addressed the problems that you came up, the way that you communicated with Constructor to work with them, to communicate with the client, to tell them, what was happening at the back end, in the end result, were they satisfied with what you delivered?
Yes, totally. The client was very happy that we might met, the deadlines, right? Because we had like a very small time frame in order to all do all this. Especially, I would like to comment that the client was very touchy about its existing UI interface. They invested like a lot on to improve that UI interface and the existing behavior of the search results, right? And they just didn't wanted to touch anything, right? They wanted something like, if I can turn on the switch, it would jump onto Constructor, and if I can turn off the switch, it goes back to Salesforce just in case. So, and we achieved that, right? So the client was really happy because they didn't have to reinvest on their front end or building anything else. All the effort was put on the server side of the things, and we somehow replaced the search engine functionality totally. So he was really happy about that. The client was really happy about this, right? If you talk about another aspect, that the response time, as I mentioned earlier, that we were going towards, like, our search result was rendering in search results of 100,000 products were rendering in like 8 to 10 seconds. It went far below. Like, on average, the results were like 600 milliseconds to 800 milliseconds on average, right? So this was a huge improvement, and client was really happy about that, right? And improving the search results response time and the quality, it resulted in lots of satisfied customers. For example, immediately at peak times, our click-through rate, it improved by 60%, right? That's a big number. And then our add to cart rate at the peak time, it improved by like 13.22%. And year on year, our product recommendations, the click-through rate for our product recommendations was like not more than 2.6%, and it was doubled by like 5.12%. So this was a very good achievement immediately after making these changes, and the client was really happy about this. And yes, we had a
That's great
satisfied
to
customer.
hear. I'm so glad that your efforts paid off. And I think that you guys have experienced quite a lot regarding Constructor. You've kind of experted the field of it. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for that very valuable knowledge that you shared with us, even within the small period of time you were able to articulate and explain everything that you've done. For anybody who is looking into Constructor, anybody who wants to consider it, they do know about the challenges now. So I want to thank you again for your time here, and have a great day.
Thank you for
Hope to
thank
see
you
you.
for having us here.